Most men lose their identity after a breakup, making her their purpose. And the problem with that is this: when you make your partner your purpose, you're essentially tying your self-worth to her. And if you don't know, your self-worth is tied to three component pillars: self-responsibility, taking ownership of your own life as a man, the self-respect that you have, being a man that honors his word, keeps his word to himself, doesn't allow people to disrespect him, having certain boundaries in place that are non-negotiable, and also self-validation, feeling validated within, feeling whole, feeling complete, not needing anything externally to fill that empty void inside, not needing attention from women to feel validated. And I understand after you go through a breakup, you feel lost. You've made this person the center of your world. And when she walks out of your life or your relationship ends, you don't know who you are anymore because you've tied your identity to that other person. And what do most men do? They avoid rebuilding their identity because they've attached their identity to the other person, making her the center of his world. Now that she's gone, you're completely broken. You don't know where to start. And when you remain stuck in this current identity, this broken identity that's not working out for you, it ends up leading to vices. You end up pleasure chasing. You're seeking some sort of comfort or external validation through maybe porn, junk food, alcohol, drugs, one-night stands, dating. And this is the cycle that keeps you stuck. And by the shame and the guilt that you feel, that's essentially your internal state telling you that you need to fix this identity. This current identity is broken, and you're only going to get more and more of those negative emotions. And the reason why I know this is because that was me. My old identity was tied towards my ex-partner, that 7-year relationship that I was in. My self-worth was tied towards her. She became a big part in my life. She was a big makeup of my whole identity itself, because before getting myself in that relationship, I didn't have that purpose. I felt empty inside. I had low self-worth, low self-esteem. I didn't heal myself properly from the previous relationship that ended. So when that relationship ended, the one that went for 7 years, I completely lost myself. I felt broken. I didn't know who I was anymore because I attached myself so deeply to the other person. And that's why that relationship crumbled. There'll always be cracks that will show in your relationship if you don't have purpose, if you attach your self-worth towards the other person. They become a big part in your life. It's almost like you can't live without them. And this is how you don't want to be. So as painful as it was at the time when she left me, that was the best thing ever that happened to me, because it was a massive slap in the face. It was a big reality check. But at that time, when I was broken, when I no longer knew my identity, I didn't like the man I saw in the mirror. And I'm not talking just about physically, but I just didn't know who I was anymore. I felt very lost. A big part of me relied on her for so long that now she was gone, it was a massive shock to my system. And I'll be honest, I didn't take it well, because I didn't have self-worth. I didn't have that self-respect. I didn't take self-responsibility. I didn't have self-validation. Because I was lacking in all three areas, I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do. So I did what most men do, and that's lean towards seeking validation externally. And for me, I was just seeking any sort of validation that would help me feel better. Indulging in porn, drugs, alcohol, having one-night stands. And every time I did this, it would just completely destroy my identity even more. I would feel so much anger towards myself. I resented myself. I had shame. and I had guilt. And these were the negative emotions that were part of that old identity. And I was just going through circles, always stuck in that loop, always consistently having negative thoughts. And you might be able to relate to this as well. It's not that I was purposely trying to take the easy way out. I just felt so broken. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I depended on that one person to fill that empty void inside that I didn't fix before getting myself in the relationship, that I was lost. I didn't know where to start. But after going through that cycle of just consistently pleasure chasing, seeking validation, getting those negative emotions that would always creep back into my life, I took that as a sign from God, a sign from the man above, that whatever I'm doing right now is not working out. My mental health got completely compromised. I was feeling depression. I was feeling anxiety. I had so many negative thoughts running through my mind. I had a weak mindset. I allowed my mindset to operate by itself. And you got to understand, your mindset is always going to keep you safe. It's going to keep you from resisting change. So you could imagine how much of a downward spiral I was getting myself in. I was sick of this feeling. I didn't want to be here anymore. It got to that much of an extreme because I tied my self-worth towards the other person. And what I did was I used all those negative emotions that I was feeling as fuel to actually take responsibility for once. I finally realized that my identity, my life, was only going to stay the same. I was only going to keep attracting more and more of what my internal state was. And I was operating through fear and scarcity. That was my mindset. So I had to get out. I no longer had control over myself at this point. I didn't know who I was, but I did everything in my power to use all those negative emotions that I was feeling as fuel to write a comeback story. That's when I started to properly shift my identity. That's when my life started to change, because I focused on my self-worth. Once I focused on my self-worth, the path illuminated as I walked it. My purpose became clearer. Because once the identity is no longer the old identity, that's when your life starts to shift. That's when you start to attract the things that you truly desire. But when you're operating through that weak, broken identity, there's no way that you can achieve your goals. There's no way that you can live a purposeful life. Build your purpose as a man. How can you see the light when you're trapped in darkness? So I just focused on shifting my identity. And that's essentially what changed my life. I started to actually focus on having a strong relationship with myself. I was someone that couldn't be alone. I always depended on someone else to fill that empty void inside. So as I started building my relationship with myself firstly, that's when I started to have self-love again. That's when my self-worth increased, my self-esteem. And once I had this then gave me the ability to therefore attract the things that are currently in my life now. And the real identity shift starts in solitude. As painful as it starts off to be, this is where you find the answers. You don't find the answers by just putting a band-aid to your problems. You need to dive deep into solitude. And a lot of guys are not willing to do that. But I'm hoping you're different, because I'm only sharing my experience, sharing what worked for me. But when you sit in solitude and you sit with all those negative emotions, taking personal responsibility to not accept the current identity, the weak version of you that feels broken, that feels lost, that's always depending on someone else to fill the empty void inside. And when you take personal responsibility and you look at yourself in the mirror and you hate what you see. You don't like this man that you've created. That's when you give permission to destroy that old identity. Because now the ego is no longer coming into play. You're being honest with yourself. And that's why you need to go in some sort of ghost mode to get out of that darkness. You don't see the light automatically. This is something that you need to properly dive deep into. A lot of self-reflection needs to take place. You need to focus on any weaknesses that you had prior to getting yourself in that relationship. Any areas in your life that you completely neglected. What does that ideal identity, that 2.0 version of yourself, how does he operate? How does he live his life? What's his self-worth like? His self-esteem. Think about the ultimate 2.0 version of yourself. That's essentially where you need to head to. And even though right now you're trapped in darkness, you just need to trust the process. Stop focusing on outcomes and just trust the process. Focus on all the areas that you personally neglected as a man to therefore completely change your life around. Without shifting your identity, you're only going to stay stuck in that current identity. Maybe a few changes might happen in your life. You might reach maybe one goal. But other than that, your internal state will be a reflection of your external state. And only when you shift your identity is when your internal state changes and you're able to attract the things that you truly desire in your life. There's no way around this. Take it from someone like me, who made a lot of mistakes in his past. And I'm only sharing what worked. What's helped me become the man I am today. To attract the things that I truly desire, to live a purposeful life. Understand that when you start to transform into that new masculine identity, a man that you're proud of, a man that has high self-worth, high self-esteem, doesn't settle for less, is able to put boundaries in place and not let people walk all over those boundaries. Be willing to walk away from people that don't align with the direction in life that you're heading. And you got to understand that new masculine identity that you're going to transform into has 3 core component pillars. The first is being purpose-driven. In order for you to actually build your ultimate purpose as a man, to know what your purpose is, you must be living a purposeful life. Don't focus on the end result. Don't focus on what is my purpose? How will I obtain my purpose? You're doing too much unnecessary thinking in a broken identity. Once you just let go, you detach yourself from outcomes, and you just take personal responsibility on recreating a new identity, living a purposeful life, the answers that you're seeking will come to you. And the main reason why a lot of men don't actually find their purpose is because they just don't trust the process. They're too heavily attached on outcomes. They let their fear mindset take over and keep them trapped. So understand that by having a purpose-driven life, that is a core pillar of your new masculine identity. This is where you start to live a fulfilling life. This is where you feel whole and complete. You don't need anything externally to make you feel complete inside. You already feel complete, regardless of what you have. It doesn't matter. You feel whole and you feel complete. And that's actually the true meaning of life. That's exactly what I've learned from making so many mistakes. Just living a purposeful life is the ultimate gift you can give yourself as a man. To not operate like 98% of average men who choose to stay stuck. Because at the end of the day, you have a choice. You can stay in the same position. Or you can put your ego aside and take advice from someone who's been in your position, but refuse to settle for less. Refuse to stay stuck in a current identity that was weak and that wasn't working out. And the second pillar is your mindset. You must be commanding your mindset on a daily basis. If you allow your mindset to operate by default, you're going to have a massive problem, because your mindset by default wants you to stay stuck, doesn't want you to actually change. It resists change altogether. And it will just keep you comfortable, being average, and living a miserable existence as a man. So part of your new identity is to make sure that you command your mind on a daily basis. This is something that I do each and every day. I make sure that I program my mind so that my mind follows my orders. I don't allow my mind to operate by default, because I know that it doesn't want what's best for me. Even though it's trying to keep me safe and protect me, it doesn't allow me to actually strive towards what I want in life. Go outside the box. You need to make sure that you command that mind at all times, or you're just going to end up just drifting through life. Time will pass you by, and you're just going to live a life filled with regret. And it's all about that internal belief system. That's part of your mindset. When your belief system is strong, when your self-talk is strong, when you believe that you can accomplish whatever you want, you're programming to your subconscious mind that you can get this done. And you will attract this back into your life. A lot of people just give up on their dreams in life. They don't reach their full potential. It's because they don't believe in themselves. They've allowed their mindset to run its own course. They haven't commanded their mindset. It's to understand that your belief system is everything. If you don't believe in yourself, if you let the mindset operate through fear and scarcity, you're only going to be stuck, and you'll never be able to change your life. And that's the harsh reality. But I'd rather tell you the truth. I'd rather tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Because I've been in your position for a long time, and I was absolutely miserable. And the third core component is self-discipline. Self-discipline is non-negotiable. That needs to be part of your new masculine identity. You need to be able to do things even when you don't feel like it. You need to be able to think about the long-term result, not the short-term result. Self-discipline needs to be there, because motivation is always going to run out. You're never going to always feel motivated. There are plenty of times where I don't feel motivated. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. But I get it done anyway, because I know that this is non-negotiable. I've lived that way before, not being self-disciplined, and it sucked because I had no changes in my life. And years would pass by and I'll be stuck in the same position. So even when I don't feel like doing something now, I get it done. I keep my word to myself. I don't need external motivation. I don't need that, because motivation will run dry. I don't need to get pumped up by watching something. I get it done. I don't worry about the immediate results, but I know that I'm building positive momentum each and every day by being self-disciplined, by choosing delayed gratification over instant gratification. And the way that you can actually manage your self-discipline as a man on a daily basis is having a daily system. A daily system that's non-negotiable, that allows you to operate through your highest self, mentally, physically, spiritually. Making sure that you're good as a man, and when your internal state is good, your external state becomes good. And you will know by showing up for yourself each and every day, just getting 1% better, that positive momentum starts just moving in a forward direction. And in a year's time, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I've accomplished so much in a short amount of time. It's because those small little changes, the dedication, the self-discipline that you applied on a daily basis, it all stacked up over time. This is the secret to actually obtaining your goals. It's the small wins that you do on a daily basis, compounded over time, And that's what gets you the results. But the reason why people don't build up this positive momentum is because they're focused always on outcomes. They're not in the present. They're always just chasing things. And this is no way to live. You'll never be able to build that positive momentum. What you'll end up doing unconsciously is building negative momentum. So you look back in a year and you'll go, damn, I haven't accomplished anything. I'm still stuck in the same position. And that's why a lot of men stay stuck. They're building the wrong momentum. So having a daily system is going to help you. Having the right daily system where you firstly get yourself right mentally, physically, spiritually, and then you can focus on the other areas and you just dedicate time to the areas that you need to improve to therefore reach your goals in the long run. And trust me, you will be able to reach those goals so much easier because you're not focused completely on those goals. You're just focused each and every day on what you need to do. You don't need motivation, you get it done, but you believe in yourself. You've commanded your mindset. And this is where you start to win. So I hope this video helped you. At the end of the day, you need to understand that that current identity that you're trapped in, you can change this. And now that you know what the 3 core components of what your new masculine identity needs to be like, you've at least got some sort of a roadmap to get there because the 2.0 version of yourself is awaiting you. And even though right now you're trapped in darkness and you can't see the light, I promise you one thing. If you take responsibility and you actually pay attention to what I said, because I've been in your position before, you can make a lot of changes in a short amount of time. If you need that help, if you want to shift your identity, that current broken identity that you're trapped in, especially after a breakup, or maybe you're not even going through a breakup and you're watching this, but you feel stuck and you hate the direction that your life is heading. You hate the man in the mirror and you want to rebuild a new identity. Live a purposeful life. Build that purpose as a man. I can help you get there. This is what I've done for myself, and I've helped other guys shift their identities. I'm currently helping a lot of guys also shift their identities as we speak, so I can help you do the same. I've got the right blueprint, and I can help you get the results in a short amount of time. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can click the link down below. You can book a free one-to-one coaching call with me, and I'll see if you're the right fit for the program. But look, ending the video here. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. If you want to share your comments, drop your comments down below. And if you could like the video, it would always help the algorithms. So I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.